Free. Coach, I'll just ask you first to evaluate that last weekend that you had. You scored, I think, 104 points against Montana Western, came up a little bit short in a win there, and then played a team that, on paper, is supposed to be probably a step above Montana Western in competition in Montana Tech. Held them to 73 points, got in and battled, just didn't quite find your offensive stride there. So, were they two different games? Were they just games that played out differently? Did you see your team do different things one game versus the next?
Well, it's a very interesting weekend for us to kind of gauge. I mean, we have 20 some new faces on our team, and Montana Western is a very good basketball team. That was the Friday night game, and ranked number 24 in the nation. I think they're going to be higher than that. They recently just beat Montana Tech. Technically, are they the best team in the conference at this point? Probably. Just judging by the first couple of weekends. But that game, they're a very offensively efficient basketball team, and we felt like I think it was a really good experience for us because we still don't know with all the new faces and everything that we have of how good we can be. I think after playing that game, we proved that honestly we look back at the film and we felt we should have won. Had the control of the game for a little bit there in the second half. 2 minutes left in the game, we're up. Few things didn't go our way with the whistle, but we also had two big mistakes under a minute left that we need to be able to complete. And then the next day, Montana Tech has got a lot of hype behind them. They've got some guys that have been there 5-6 years. They're ranked in the top 5 in the nation. And we didn't blink, and we felt like honestly we didn't play our best game offensively that game, and we was within 8 most of the game, and we just couldn't get over the hump. But I think analyzing that weekend, I feel like our basketball team has proven that we can compete. And all we got to do is clean up some things, and maybe we're going to be on top of those games here soon.
I wondered if maybe you felt that your basketball team took a step Friday to Saturday, just from the standpoint that, you were within reaching distance of Montana Western. You had scored a ton of points in those games up until that point. And really, the defensive part, which I know takes time to come, had been a little bit elusive defined. But to hold Montana Tech with the athleticism that they have to 73 points, I mean, I know you're not big on moral victories, coach, but that seemed like that was a step in the right direction.
Yeah, it is. Our style, it's going to be so like people are going to look at the scores and go, well, they give up this or they give up that. It's like we play such a high possession basketball game that a lot of those scores and a lot of those numbers are going to be inflated in different ways. Um, but yes, holding Montana Tech to 73 points is definitely proves to our team that hey, we can guard at a very high level if we just buy into what we're trying to do. Now we got to put both sides of the ball together in one game. That's something that we've been working on. We got to do. But it does definitely help. It helps us as a staff to know that hey, we're really close. We just got to keep on, getting better every day.
Coach, when you looked at the personnel that you brought in this year, you mentioned there's a lot of new faces, and that wasn't an unknown to you. You graduated a ton of players from last year's team, so you knew you'd be new. You brought in some really solid experience in the backcourt and have paired it up with some very young but talented guys that will go into the box and are learning the game at that point. Could you describe to us what you've seen as far as that experience in the backcourt pairing together with that youth in the post and how that's meshing for the Vikings so far from an offensive standpoint?
I think it's the new way in terms of college basketball with the transfer portal and not knowing, what your roster is going to look like come April every year right now. Um, it's an interesting strategy in regards to coaching because you and how we kind of do it is like Caleb Larson comes from Bemidji State. He's a fourth year transfer for a 4 year transfer. Is he senior? J.R. Sisson is the same. Taylor Fry, he's a junior college a transfer. So there's just a mixture of a lot of different things. How we're treating everybody is you're all new freshmen. I mean, that's kind of like how we have to do this. Now, certain guys are a little bit more mature and can take a little different types of coaching in different ways, a little bit better. Where then also, if you're a true freshman, you gotta kind of coach them a little bit differently also, because they deserve a little bit more, how would I say this, leash, because they've never been through a 4-year college basketball year. So it's different. It really is different, but meshing them together has been, how would I say it? It hasn't been easy, but it also has been kind of one of those, your players have to accept it, and they've accepted a lot of things, and they've made it a little bit easier than I thought it would be at this point. But we still have a long ways to go. We're playing a lot of young guys, and there's certain parts of the game that you have to learn, and you have to go through hard times to learn. And we just have to stay together through those times right now.
You mentioned a high possession brand of basketball. When I think about those guys in particular, the NSIC, I don't know that they play a lot of high possession basketball games. I'm sure some teams do, but they seem to be built to kind of be more, controlled. You have a guy like Joel Nelson that comes from Devil's Lake, where at the high school level, they're used to playing a lot of high possession basketball. That's the way they want to get out and play. So does any of the experience that they had from their previous schools help in the system that you want to play, or is there some new things that you're having to teach from a system perspective?
Yeah, I mean, in the recruiting process, we always want to target guys that kind of play our style. And if you've kind of looked at our incoming recruits over the last 4 or 5 years, it's really kind of been, I'd say 90% of them have been in high possession high school programs or junior college programs or fast-paced type teams. But there's always going to be a learning curve. And it's in our style. I mean, you have to be there's a 4-minute segment each game where you have to just go as hard as you can to basically where your legs are just got nothing left, and you have to be able to accept getting taken out because we know you're tired. And it takes a little bit of learning. It takes a little bit of coaching in terms of hey, this is how this is going to be and all that type of stuff. And you really have to have them accept the style. And they have. I think they've bought into it. They've seen success in it. And we just want to be a little bit different than everybody else. We don't hey, all right, you're going to play half court. We're going to play half court. And we're going to just say that's okay. We're just going to let you do what you do every day. We don't want to do that. We want to be able to take you out of what you do, and you're going to have to play our style. And that works most of the time. We're still learning how consistent you have to be in that and how hard it is to do that. Everybody wants to play fast. They always tell you want to play fast, all that stuff, and then you got to play fast, and then some people start blinking a little bit. But I really have been appreciative of our guys and how they've really battled really hard in regards to what we do.
Early this season, you may still looking for your first conference win, but early this season, you go on the road and you beat teams out of the Great Plains. You ended up going and beating Wesleyan. You beat Mount Marty. You beat Dort. One of those was neutral site games, but they were still both on the road and a ways away from you. And good programs. You saw early the ceiling's high. These guys know how to win, and they know how to close out a game when they've got an opportunity. It may not have happened yet in the conference, but I seem to think that you must feel like your ceiling's pretty high for this crew.
Yeah, I don't even know where it is. I mean, that's a good thing as a coach. When we can't see the ceiling, it means that we can get better every day, and that's a fun experience. And our guys need to buy into every day is just every play, every moment. Are you in the moment, or are you in that play? And we're trying to get that instilled a little bit. It's a really hard process because some of these guys, like you talked about Joel, Joel Nelson, Alex Lester, Jalen Johnson, they have never played this much basketball in their entire career up to this point. Usually, I mean, they've been on campus since September. They've been playing basketball probably every day or 5 days a week right now. Their high school season would be over by now. That's kind of what they're going through, and they're trying to figure out, all right, how do I manage my body? How do I manage my food? How do I manage my time? all those types of things are new learning experiences for them. And we're trying to, make sure that they stay consistent with what they are. Now they're getting better every day, all that type of stuff, but we're just, yeah, every day is just going to be a process for us. Um, and I think, by the time January and February comes around, if we're playing our best basketball, I think we're going to be a very scary basketball team.
Coach, let's wrap up our conversation with a preview of the weekend. You go to Bellevue on Friday, come back home with Dakota State on Saturday. These are teams that at times have been challenging, and at times you've been able to get the better end of these in both situations. Even on the road, these are places that you can go and you have success winning basketball games there. So a big opportunity weekend for the Vikings this weekend.
Yeah, Bellevue has always been one of those programs that, when I first came here, it was 10 years ago, beating Bellevue was like winning a Super Bowl. That was a big deal. They were just, I would say, a step above in every category, from administration to staffing to money to all the things that make successful basketball programs. They had it. Over the last 4 or 5 years, I think we've kind of turned that table a little bit, and I think our record versus them is I think we're like 6-2 versus them, or 6-3. I can't remember what it is. But so we've kind of switched that a little bit. Now, I'm not saying that we're the better basketball program or any of that type of stuff. I'm just saying that we have evened that playing field a little bit, and that's a good thing. Dakota State's playing really good basketball also. The new head coach down there, he was at Dakota Wesleyan before. Now he's at Dakota State. They're playing really good defensive basketball. They've got a really good stud in regards to scoring. And I think it's going to be a really fun battle to watch both of these games. Obviously, we're on the road. And pulling one this weekend would be a very successful weekend, but we want to.